Hello and welcome to Chapter 17, the final chapter that we will be reviewing in this course this semester. And it's all about promotional planning. The slides that you will see here in this video review are edited, so they're a little bit different from what you may see what was posted in Blackboard. Concentrate your efforts based on this video review. And we're really going to talk about the main points that entrepreneurs need to consider when they're opening a business and how they plan to promote that business. There's basically three types of marketing communications that small business owners, well, almost any business, uses to get information out there to the customer and to help persuade the customer to come into the store or buy the products and services that you're offering. And those are personal selling, advertising, and sales promotional tools. And those are the three main elements of promotion that we're going to be discussing in this chapter. One of the things, though, that I want to mention at the very beginning is integrated marketing communications and the importance of IMC. IMC is a new buzz acronym, and integrated marketing communications is a new viral marketing term that you're going to hear a lot about, if not in your other classes, at least when you get out into the working world. Integrated marketing communications, if you haven't heard it before, is all about being consistent in the marketing message that you deliver and making sure that it's consistent across all the different types of mediums that you might use, whether it be newspaper, television, radio, billboards, social media, and also making sure that the general message that you are trying to communicate through this marketing or through this advertising is consistent across the entire company, that the entire company knows the message that you're trying to send and is making sure that it's a consistent message. It goes all the way from the message to even logos, making sure that the logo and your colors that you use in your brand are consistent. So this integrated marketing communications is very important these days, and one of the reasons why this has become so important is because of all the different mediums that are out there. Social media, all the types of promotional items, television, newspaper, magazines, billboards, everything that we can possibly advertise or promote through, making sure that everything is consistent from the branding to the message, to the objective, and etc. So IMC is very important. So what is promotion? Basically, we're trying to communicate to our consumers. Again, trying to inform them, give them information about our business, and then trying to persuade them, making sure that we're hoping that our advertising message actually results in some type of action that increases profit. There's different categories in the promotional communication mix, and that is the main ones today are internet and social media or digital marketing, personal selling, advertising, and sales promotion tools. The promotional mix of any company is everything that the company does to promote, whether it be a newspaper ad, a television commercial, pins with the name of the company on it that you give away as premium items. All of those things together and bundled are the promotional mix of the company. And as an entrepreneur, it is very critical that that person knows exactly what is what's being offered in that promotional mix. And the makeup of the mix is determined a lot by the geography that the business is located in and the target market, the size of the budget that you can spend, the product's characteristics, and the characteristics of the business itself. If you live in a very small, if your business is located in a very small market and your target market is within that market that you are located in, then major television advertising may not be the best way to advertise because it may be too costly based on the smaller market that you're going after. So all of these things have some sort of impact on the decision that you're making. When you're taking a look at advertising, there's 4 primary types of advertising, and it has a lot to do with where your business or where your product is in the product life cycle. There's informative advertising, where we're just trying to get information out to the consumer that we exist, letting them know that the product is out there, that the business is now open. Then there's persuasive advertising, where we're trying to get the consumer to make a decision, whether to come to us, whether to buy from us, whether to look at some type of communication that we have, like a website or social media. There's comparative advertising, where we actually compare ourselves to the competition. And then there's reminder advertising that usually happens in a late maturity stage and decline stage of the product life cycle. And the reminder advertising is just saying, hey, we're still here. We're still out there. We still have value to offer our customers. And a lot of times this would be, a really good example of this would be the Got Milk commercials. If you've ever seen a Got Milk commercial, where usually they use some celebrity and there'll be a picture of them on in the paper or the magazine, and they've got a little white stain of milk across their top lip. Basically, it's just reminding people, hey, milk's good for you, milk's a good drink, and so forth. So that's reminder advertising. So those are the 4 primary types of advertising that are available and that entrepreneurs use. I wanted to put this in there. The first objective of a new business is that informative advertising, where you're really just trying to get the word out. It can be done through signage or flyers that you send out, direct mail or emails, or a newspaper ad, or even a television commercial, depending again on the business. But the 2 pictures here are of me when I opened my business. One was one of the very first pictures that I took when I opened my business. And about 2 weeks before we were ready to open, I had a banner made and put it out on the main highway saying, "Coming soon." And I wanted to arouse the interest of those that were passing by and trying to get their interest. When I put that sign up, the number of hits on my website went up dramatically for those 2 weeks. People seen it, they Googled it, that my website came up, they visited the website. It was just an informative piece of advertising that we did. The next picture on the right is just a small little sign that I purchased online for about $150, and it was just, again, reminder advertising. Hey, we're here. We have new items every day. We've got low prices. Just wanting to remind people as they drove by. And so, to me, that this first phase of advertising, informative, is very important in getting up and running quickly. When we're one of the things we have to do when we're as a business owners, we have to determine how much money are we really going to spend on advertising. And this is really a tough decision for most businesses, especially new businesses, because it's you really don't have a lot of money starting out, but you know that you got to do some type of advertising in order to get the word out. So there's different approaches that businesses take, but I will tell you up front that it is a combination of several of these methods. One, the very first one on the left, is budgeting a fixed percentage of sales. So if you think you're going to do $100,000 in sales, you might say, well, I'm going to put 10% of that towards advertising, or $1,000. Or if it's $100,000 in sales, it would be $10,000 in advertising. Or maybe it's only 5%. But whatever the case may be, it's a certain percentage of sales. And then just deciding how much is left over after all the other expenses are covered. I mean, this is sort of like the least desirable way to budget. And it's basically saying, well, if we have any money left, we'll advertise. Not the preferred way to do it, but still a lot of businesses do it that way. Spending at the same level as competitors. Entrepreneurs can't help themselves, and I can tell you this firsthand, that when they see their competition advertising in the paper or radio or whatever, they can't help themselves but to sort of react and in turn advertise themselves to sort of counteract the advertising that the competitor did. So spending at the same level of competitors is another way, another method that a lot of businesses use. Still not the best method, but still a lot do that. And then the fourth one and final one, determining how much is needed to achieve the objectives that you're going after. Now, this is the most desirable method. This is the one that most businesses should be using, where they say, okay, here are our budgets. We know we're predicting, or we're estimating sales to be at $200,000 this year. And that's where we want it to be. If we're over that, great, but we want to at least be at $200,000. Well, how much advertising is it going to take throughout the year for us to reach that number? And that's hard to determine, but still it's a plan. And so I would say that most businesses use the third and fourth methods the most when they're determining an advertising budget or a promotional budget. But again, it's a combination of all of them at some point during the year. And it's just one of the things you want to do is make sure that you don't do as an entrepreneur is that you don't overspend. In other words, create your business, creating a loss for the business because you advertise too much. Because advertising and promotion can be very expensive, very expensive. So how much should a small business spend on promotion? Well, like I said, it's a combination of all four methods. You don't want to overspend. You do want to have an objective. And you just want to use good common business sense. In other words, making sure that you don't spend more than you have and making sure that the business still turns a profit. Promoting or using the internet and social media to promote the business and advertise. I will say this, that all new businesses need to have some type of a website and some type of social media presence. Now, if you're starting out a business from scratch, the initial website can be just a rough draft of what it might become. But you still need that website there so that customers or potential future customers will have a place to go to learn about your business. Remember that informative advertising to let them know that, yes, you're going to be opening on a certain date. Here's your business hours. Here's the type of business you are. Here's the products that you carry. Here's some contact information. That rough draft, that initial website is very important. And I'll tell you that most people can do this on their own. You can go online, find some web page builders, website builders that are very easy to use and very inexpensive. And I would advise most entrepreneurs to start at this point, do it themselves, and then later on possibly use a specialist to create a revised or an edited, updated website. Obviously, you all know the advantages of social media. So, it's just an economical way to advertise and to spread the word. Now, depending on who your target market is and what their demographics are, social media may or may not be the best method. But in today's world, most people are on some type of social media. So choosing the right one is the critical point. Again, on the websites, if the business is going to be centered around, or if you're going to offer some type of e-commerce, then that website is going to have to be designed and built by experienced web designers. It doesn't need to be the initial website. The initial website can be made by the entrepreneur because you may not have a lot of money. You may not know exactly what you want to do with the website yet, but most businesses probably will want to take advantage of some type of e-commerce. And in that case, you want to have some type of an expert creating that site so that you can do all the transactions and everything is built properly. And again, if the website is for information only, the entrepreneur themselves might build the initial site in order to save money. But a professional look is key. And today, when I had my business, I took a class in HTML, and it was a very rugged looking website, but it got the job done. Today, there's so much technology out there that it's probably going to look very professional, no matter if you do it or you have someone else do it. But if you're going to go with e-commerce, you definitely want to have an expert do it. Here's just some guidelines as you design a website. Some really good information here, but nothing that I'm going to hold you to. So social media. We all know what social media is, and so I'm not going to go into that in detail. But being that it's very inexpensive, being that everyone is on social media, it's just absolutely a necessity that an entrepreneur takes advantage of and posts on social media. The main point of social media, though, remember, if you happen to take my social media class last semester, content is key. What you put on the social media it's so important. One, if you put garbage on, constantly putting things that don't have any value, then you're going to lose respect and you're going to lose people looking at your social media. You're just going to lose viewers. However, if the content that you put on your social media has value and gives your the viewers information, then they will follow you. Then they will watch you, and they'll take advantage of that. And so that content is the most critical point in social media. Again, just as I said, the key to successful social media marketing is creating content that attracts the attention of the target audience and offers value. How many times do you post? Most experts say you post about 2 to 3 times per week. Now, make sure that if you are posting on social media and they are promoting through different methods, that you keep that integrated marketing communications in mind, IMC. Make sure that your message is consistent. Make sure the look is consistent, the colors, the logos, and make it look professional. That's very critical. Here's some do's and don'ts about social media marketing. You can take a look at this at your leisure. Nothing I'm going to hold you to, but it is very informative for someone who might be thinking about starting a business and promoting on social media. Personal selling. Now this, a lot of small businesses aren't going to have a personal sales force. It's probably very few, but it all depends on what you're selling. Okay, so most new startups aren't going to be able to afford a personal sales force, but the founder or the entrepreneur themselves are going to be out in the community trying to let people know about the business, let them know when they're opening, let them know all about the products that they carry. So, for instance, when I was starting my business, one of the things that I did about a month prior to opening is I went to doctor's offices, I went to hospitals, I went to nursing homes, and I would go in and I would talk to the nurses and talk to the doctors and talk to even to the receptionist, letting them know exactly what was going to be going on June 18th when the business opened. And here's what West Virginia Discount Medical was all about. Here's the products we were offering. And so I was out selling. But you have to remember that a personal sales force is the most expensive type of promotion. So most small businesses aren't going to be able to hire a personal sales force right away or ever. But the entrepreneur themselves do become part of they have to sell themselves and sell the business because it is very expensive. Just a couple things I want to talk about about personal selling. I want you to know what prospecting is. And that's where you're basically just looking for new customers, making sure that those customers are qualified potential prospects. In other words, they probably will buy from your business at some point. And you get a lot of those prospects, though, from personal referrals or professional referrals from other customers. Could be, you might even get some prospects from suppliers. Here's, again, some really good sales tips on how to be successful when you're trying to sell your business and your products. And this would be very helpful even for inside sales, like if you had a retail establishment. Getting down to advertising. So what are some of the things that you want to keep in mind as an entrepreneur? Keeping in mind, I mean, the definition of advertising, it's the impersonal promotion of the business. So it's anything, the impersonal presentation of a business idea through mass media is the official definition, but anything that, newspaper, television, billboards, anything that is paid for and not face-to-face like personal sales. So you want to sell by informing, persuading, and reminding. Remember the different types of advertising. And you just want to make sure that as you do advertising, that you're looking for what the customers are wanting. And you're advertising value that you're going to give to them based on their needs. There's product advertising and institutional advertising. So product advertising, we're advertising for products that we sell. Institutional advertising is more of, that's where the informative advertising at the very beginning of the business would be sort of classified as institutional, where you're actually advertising about the business. Frequency of advertising, it's important to understand that you can overload consumers with advertising, but that doesn't tend to be a problem with small businesses because advertising is so expensive that you can't afford to do it that frequently. Where to advertise this is where the common sense comes in and the business sense. Basically, who are your target customers and where do they live? What's the geographical area that they're in? And what type of media is customarily used by the industry? The type of business. And so if your target customer are 18 to 24-year-olds, you know that the newspaper is not the best place to advertise, and television probably isn't either. You're probably going to want to have a very big social media presence in order to reach that target audience, those 18 to 24-year-olds. So where to advertise and when to advertise is very important. And here's some advantages and disadvantages of all the different types of mediums that are out there. And this is just a handful of the types of mediums that are available. There's a lot of different advertising mediums that you can purchase. Finally, sales promotion tools. Okay, so usually the sales promotional tools are used in a combination with either personal selling or advertising. These could be coupons and special offers or special events, maybe even premium items. A premium item is something that is usually, it's a tangible item that's usually give away for free. It could be a pen, a keychain, anything with your name, your logo, or the name of your website on the promotional item itself. And you've seen these little trinkets all over the place and probably had some in your hand yourself. But they just serve as a reminder about the business, but they sort of go in, they work in combination with everything else that you do. I spend a lot of money every year on Post-it notes and pens. Seems like we spend hundreds, maybe even thousands of dollars every year on those those special premium items. And then finally in the sales promotion tools is publicity. Now, publicity is free of charge, but you got to remember that it can be either negative or positive. Obviously, we want it to be positive, but publicity would be like a newspaper article about your business. You don't pay for it. It's usually just something, usually a new business will get some publicity from the local media, either even a television bit on the news, or even an ad or an article in the newspaper, not an ad, but an article. But it does help promote the business. You can't really advertise openly with it. In other words, a press release cannot advertise the product or the business, but it can tell people about the business. A lot of times you'll see things in the news about maybe a business took a half a day and went and picked up litter along the highway. Well, obviously they want to pick up litter, but really the main reason they're probably doing that is hoping to get some type of publicity out of it, so that people say, hey, the ABC company, they really care about our highways. They're cleaning up the highways. I might have to go and patronize that business. And those are the key terms. So that's the chapter in a nutshell. That's the final chapter that I'll be reviewing for this course. As you're building your business plan, you'll probably want to have some mention of how you're going to promote the business and what are some of the strategies that you might be using. So I think this chapter should be helpful as you're doing that. If you have any questions, let me know. The only thing left in this course that you're going to be getting from me is you're going to be getting a recap of the entire course. And it'll be a relatively short video that I will post on YouTube. But I do want you to review it and watch it before the end of the class. And that video will probably be coming up the week of April 20th. If you have any questions or need any help, let me know. Please contact me either through email or course messaging. I'll get right back to you. Again, if you want me to take a real quick look at your business plan to see if you're going in the right direction, you can email those to me. I've done that for a few people, and I still have a few that I need to go over. But if you want to do that, I'm more than willing to review those business plans. And I think that's it. Make sure you take the short quiz for this chapter, and then that'll be the last chapter quiz for the course. The only thing left for you to do will be to turn in or submit your business plan by May 1st. Again, if you have any questions, let me know. I hope you're staying safe and healthy, and hope to see or talk to you soon. Bye-bye.